Hello, welcome to Premier Scene. I'm Claire Bueno and we have raced over to the View Westfield because we're here for the UK premiere of TT3D, Closer to the Edge.
One shot of a six-pack. Lights are on, but no one's home. I can imagine from the outside looking in, anyone that's racing the TT looks like the lights are on, but no one's home.
You're all looking very snazzy this evening in your... you don't normally dress like this, do you?
We do actually. We're on our bikes every day, so we're just like this all the time. We're really big bikers. We got into it through the Get On campaign, which is a national campaign which we're ambassadors for. So a year ago we were all novices, and now
that little logo on the back there, you've got to get that. That's what we're part of.
And because of that, he's now on these two on Hondas. I'm riding a Yamaha FZ8, and Ollie rides a Suzuki as well. So
Tell us some more about the Get On campaign then. It's news to me.
Okay, well basically anybody can do it. You don't have to be scared of bikes, motorcycles at all. I was a year and a half ago. I would go nowhere near a bike, mainly because my parents told me you're never getting on one. And then basically a year ago I heard about Get On, and you're able to get 1 hour free lesson. You don't have to pay for it. They give you all the kit, they give you the bike, and they give you a really good instructor. And after 1 hour you can decide if it's for you or not for you. And I have to say, all of us tried it, and we're now all on bikes, and we're
completely hooked. It's amazing. And they've got, I think it's been a brilliant thing for bikes, because it's something like 87% of those who go for that 1 hour have gone on to do a CBT and then gone on to get their proper license. And it's just encouraging road awareness, safety, and that motorbiking is great fun.
Guy Mark, where do you start? Guy's colourful character, he loves a bit of attention.
We are 1 minute away from the start of racing.
We don't know where he is, as usual. He'll be here in a bit.
I'm just wondering, a film like this is dangerous for the racers, but what about the crew filming it?
Yeah, some of them refused. I'm not standing there. Yeah, it's true. It's like,
don't blame them.
One guy said, "I've got kids. I'm not standing there." But for all of the action, for all of the thrills, for all of the excitement, we adhere to the health and safety. We filmed in a way that it was safe, but the crew had never seen anything like it. I mean, most of them had never been to the Isle of Man, had never been to the TT. They were completely blown away by it.
It's an incredible journey for these riders, isn't it? I mean, how do you make a film where your potential cast could actually die?
It's really, really tricky, and it's something I had to think about long and hard, because that was it. What happens? I'm thinking, I'm going to get close to these people. What happens if one of them dies? How are we going to cope with that? And it's how do you cope with it personally as well as financially and commercially? It's a big risk, but we went in knowing that something big would happen, good, bad, or indifferent. Something big would happen. And we would just have to make the most of it, and that's what the film has done. Everything that we've encountered, we've reflected in the film. It's the whole truth. Nothing's covered up. Nothing's pushed under the carpet. It's a real blast.
And also, there's been funding as well from the government, the Isle of Man government. Mm-hmm. How important is it for government to invest in film?
I think it's really important, because the Isle of Man. This is the first big Isle of Man film, in terms of Isle of Man set that the Isle of Man has made. The Isle of Man has now made 96 movies. I mean, it is, it's a very special movie location. There's some really big films being made there. But this is the first time that they've turned the camera on themselves, looking at, what happens on the island. I hope really successfully, but it's provided a lot of economic benefit. It's provided a lot of diversification, and it's provided a lot of exposure. And that sort of exposure, is best demonstrated here tonight. You've got the Getty exhibition, you've got the TT trophies, you're in Westfield. God knows how many people come and pass, looking at the Isle of Man, learning about the Isle of Man. It's all part of that intangible economic benefit that I could bore you with for hours, but you're not interested, really.
He's fit, he's young, fast, real fast. He's always been a threat. Every man and his dog in the world wants Guy Martin to win.
How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm very well. I mean, excited. We've got a fantastic gathering and a lovely film to show everybody.
I know, Guy's quite overawed. I was seeing him, yeah.
Ah, where is he?
Thought anything could faze him when you see, bits and pieces of the documentary.
Oh, Guy's lovely. He's a good soul man.
And what's it been like for you? I believe you've done some pioneering with regards to 3D with this film.
Yeah, I mean, I think the central goal for us was to create a human story. It's all very well bringing all this technology and bringing 3D and, dressing up a film, but we wanted to capture the human story, and that's what we did. And technically, to follow that story in 3D was very challenging. Normally in 3D, you need a lot of setup time, takes hours to align the cameras, and documentary filmmaking is all about jump up, run, go there, go here, you know, start shooting as soon as the light comes up, and you're filming all day. And 3D hates that, so it was a challenge for us to keep up with that.
So how do you even sort of prepare for like shot composition when you're trying to shoot in 3D?
Well, you know, we knew that some of the elements, like, you know, when we went to see Guy up and, you know, and we went to his world, you know, we went underneath his truck. It's like a little cave in 3D, and that's him as a mechanic, and that was more controllable for us. When we came to the TT, you know, it's 37 3/4 miles of track with riders who have one focus, which is to win a race, and a moving story every day. And so there, the 3D we had to shoot from the hip. You know, I mean, my cameraman, you'll meet him later, Thomas Curls, he threw a 3D rig on his shoulder. It's like the first handheld 3D, and it's like picking up a small child and running around with a small child on your shoulder. It's a lot of weight, and he still managed to get some great shots.
Is this film been creatively liberating, really, for you?
I have to admit, you know, it's my first full feature length, and it's a documentary, and so yeah, it has been very liberating on that front. And yeah, I hope to do many more.
I'm trying. I don't give it.
What's it feel like being on the red carpet this evening?
I know, it's a bit. Look, I should have dressed up a bit, shouldn't I? Look, everyone's dressed in posh frocks and all that. I should have dressed up. But no, it's there's a lot of people in there, a lot of cameras. Oh, yeah. I know I feel like a bit of a fish out of water, I think.
You're a superstar.
Give over, I'm not a superstar, I'm a mechanic. I've took a day off work to come here. Yeah, it's a bit of a... I'm just looking, there's a lot of people in it. It's a bit of an eye-opener. My word, my word.
Can you tell us about the TT and what it means to you to be a participant in it?
Well, I was sort of bitten by the book in 2004. Well, my dad raced there for 15 years, but he never encouraged me into racing. When I got starting racing, then he sort of gave me a bit of an help. But I'm a mechanic for a lad over there in 1999, and I thought, my word, this is a bit of me. And I eventually built up and managed to get a bike and earn enough money to go and race the bike in 2004. And from that moment on, you know, my whole year of motorbike racing revolves around getting to the Isle of Man TT.
What was it about the TT that's so different from other motorbike racing?
All of the motorbike racing tends to be circuit racing. You know, it's all on a short sort of track, and if you come off, it's fairly safe. You know, it's all right, but it's just a bit boring. You know, like you go and race around, you know, like your Brands Hatches and your Alton Parks and all that sort of kit. But you know, it's a bit like watching grass grow. Really, it's not that exciting. Not really. Not compared to racing at the TT. You go to the TT, and everything else is second hand. You know, like this year we'll go to the Isle of Man TT and we'll race there for 2 weeks. We'll have a week of practice, then we'll race for a week. And then from there we'll go to, say, Snetterton, which is a short circuit in England. You might as well. It's just like watching grass grow. It's just boring. You know, once you've raced the Isle of Man TT, everything else is second hand.
You're going at speeds at about 200 miles an hour, I believe. What is that sensation like? Can you share that with us?
Well, no, I'll sort of talk it down, really. I mean, the week before we go to the Isle of Man TT, or 2 weeks before we go to the Isle of Man, we do a race in Ireland called the Northwest 200. And that's a similar sort of race to the Isle of Man, but it's just a bit more, it's a bit shorter, and there's not as many corners, but the speeds there are serious speeds, you know, that are the 200 odd mile an hour. So we have a week there, and then we go to the Isle of Man for a week's worth of practice, and then we get into the races, and honestly, you just get immune to 200 mile an hour. Honestly, and I'm not trying to big it up, it is, you know, you go in there at 200 odd mile an hour and you can start to pick silly things out on the side of the road, and you can pick people's faces out in the crowd, and you do get immune to it. Your brain gets used to going at 200 mile an hour all the time. Yeah.
How have you felt about being a part of a film?
I know. It's a bit...
Did you have any reservations?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, just because it's not really my thing. You know, I'm a mechanic. I'm a mechanic, that's what I do. And you know, I race motorbikes as a hobby, and it's not my line of work at all. But then I always have a saying, you know, regret what you've done, not what you haven't. So I thought, well, I'll do it, and then at least I don't get 10 years down the line and I think, well, I should have done that film.
It's not about beating the next guy, it's about who beats the track. It's when he wins. I really believe it.
What's it been like taking part in the film? Bearing in mind the director's next to you.
Yeah, best say everything good, actually. I've really enjoyed it. It's been an interesting experience for me because, you know, it's the first thing like this I've ever done. You know, and it's not, the road races themselves, us road races don't really get an awful lot of coverage, and, you know, it's only over the last couple of years we've started to get, you know, ITV4 coverage, and I think that's doing the event itself justice as well as those riders. So, but yeah, I've loved every second of it. It's brilliant.
How do you feel about the TT becoming more publicised, or is it nice that it's a little community of people? Oh, well, there's a big community, but a community of people rather than sort of being global.
I think, excuse me, I think it's for the good of the event, really. I mean, as I said before, it's not the event itself's not had massive exposure before, but I think over the last couple of years it's started to improve, and obviously things like tonight, such big events like tonight, of promoting the event itself, and I'm all for it. I think the more coverage we can get for the event, the better, and it's good for us riders as well.
How do you feel about riding at 200 miles an hour? What is that like? Can you share that with us?
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. There's not many times, there's not many people actually that get a chance to ride down country lanes and country roads at breakneck speeds, and hedges and brick walls either side here. There's nothing like it in the world. It's absolutely awesome.
You mentioned about being competitive. Is it about the winning, or is it about the taking part that's important to you as riders?
The winning. It's got to be the winning. Yeah, I think you've got to go out to win, haven't you?
That's Guy Martin's fastest lap ever around the door.
What was it that drew you to doing the TT?
We've always, my uncle's had the most ever wins around the Isle of Man, and it's a challenge to race the Isle of Man, so, I've done it, and it's all about conquering it and winning it, and I've won one now, and I just want to keep coming back and winning more.
Is it quite addictive coming back and doing these races? What type of commitment do you have to put into it?
Everyone's commitment. You want to win, you have to commit yourself to a high level, and you want to keep coming back to Isle of Man. Everyone's addicted. If you do something once, you enjoy it, you always want to do it again, and that's the thing about the Isle of Man. You just want to keep coming back and having a go at it, so I want to keep coming back.
And how kind of conscious are you of the perils of what you're doing and how it affects your family, maybe?
I don't know. Us racers are, we're a greedy bunch of people. We have no problems, but you're sort of number one, not number one only. And sadly enough, that's what we're like. We just look out for ourselves, and the beauty about it, all our families know what we do, and they know that that's what we do it for, and they don't say anything. So
it's a way of life, isn't it? Really,
it's a way of life. That's our way of life, and we stick at it, and nobody ever gives us any problem.
This TT is the most powerful race you'll ever do in your life.
If you make a mistake, it's going to be serious injury or worse.
You can't love the death, you can't love the loss, but you can't love the excitement and the thrill without knowing that that's part of it.
Starstruck?
I am, yeah, I am.
I stood next to Jackie Stewart.
I know, the man.
How do you feel about coming to see this film this evening about the TT?
Well, I'm looking forward to it immensely. I had lots and lots of friends who did the TT. Bob McIntyre, a great Scot. Alistair King, another great Scottish racing bike rider. Mike Hillwood, John Surtees, I know very well. And I've always admired the TT riders. I think they've got more courage, they've got more skills than almost any sport that I know of. And it is by far the most difficult track to do properly, and I just take my hat off to them.
They're saying it's like the Monaco of motorbike racing.
No, I think Monaco's too obvious, too easy in comparison. I think it's the Nürburgring, the German Grand Prix, the old Nürburgring. That's 23.7 miles around. That's difficult. That's like the TT, but even the TT is more difficult than that, I believe.
It certainly breeds a special type of person, doesn't it, doing this kind of racing? Constantly, you're always putting your life on the line, but this seems particularly precarious.
Well, in motorcycles, I always think that people are more vulnerable than they are in cars. There seems to be, even in a Formula One car, you've got things round you. But in a bike, you are very exposed. And when you're on the Isle of Man doing the speeds that these guys do, that takes courage, that takes a lot of courage.
Some lads love going to the pub. Some lads love shagging. I don't mind it, I'm not into it. Different things make different people happy, don't they?
Well, we certainly triumphed with some winning interviews here at the UK Premiere of TT3D, closer to the edge. I'm Claire Bueno, and you're watching Premier Scene.
Guy Martin is having the lap of his life, but is it going to be enough to give him his first victory here at the TT?